Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. So Jim Shelley from the Daily Mail has written an article about Doctor Who. To be precise, about last night's Doctor Who resolution. Now I'm going to read the article. There's people writing about Jodie Whittaker's and Chris Chibnall's season 11 that normally wouldn't be talking because it's triggering a lot of people, and a lot of people have got an opinion about what's going on. So let's read the article. He starts off. Jodie Whittaker's PC approach to a Dalek summed up the BBC's disastrous reboot. She seemed more like a netball teacher than the show's Time Lord in Doctor Who. By Jim Shelley. Right. Let's have a look at this then. The Doctor Who New Year's Day special was meant to give Jodie Whittaker's historic first series the grand finale, worthy of its status. It did prove fairly fitting too, but for the wrong reasons, epitomising what had gone with last year's reboot. Even when showrunner Chris Chibnall belatedly resorted to a story about the Daleks, it was merely a pale imitation. Couldn't agree more. You wouldn't have thought possible to mess up any episode with the Daleks, let alone a special, but Chibnall managed even this. When you thought back to previous festive specials vintage different Daleks, Whittaker's predecessors' incarnations as the legendary Time Lord, or what Doctor Who used to be like in general, it was not as good. Much of Doctor Who is demented scientific nonsense, of course, but the thing that made the least sense in New Year's Day special was why Ryan Yaz or Bradley Walsh knew what Daleks were. Well, to be fair, they didn't until the Doctor mentioned it, but we go on. Neither did the police officer who was told, "You are an enemy of the Daleks," and replied, "How are you spelling that?" It was awful. It was. If the BBC and Chibnall are not careful, this could be an accurate prophecy of what the future looks like. Most of the problems, mistakes that plagued the launch of the Chibnall-Whittaker reboot had been obvious, as my review of episode 1 predicted, and were still there. It was cripplingly PC, not bad for a kid with dyspraxia, right? Prepared with patronising CBeebies-style history lessons. So Iraq invented New Year, and prone to gratuitous bits of politics, the Unified Intelligence Task Force unit to us had been suspended following funding withdrawals by the UK's international partners. Now, basically, this is Chibnall's attempt to poke fun at the Brexit situation, and it was ridiculous. How can you not have unit? And if there's no unit, right? Why not get hold of Captain Jack Harkness? Just spitballing here. We were also subjected to endless speeches full of positive messages and life lessons about how to be a good dad or fighting back. Above all, it was just not scary enough, that's true. Written by Chris Chibnall himself, Resolution was feeble fare, like everything about the Whittaker-Chibnall era. Couldn't agree more. If one thing summed this all up, it was the Daleks, or rather the Dalek. Resolution featured only one Dalek, which being on its own never seemed to pose a real threat to the Doctor or the people of Sheffield, where it had appeared, let alone to the whole planet, as it announced and then insisted repeatedly when the recon Dalek droned, "All humanity is my prisoner now, even the Doctor, hang on, I've got that wrong, right. All humanity is my prisoner, right. I'm not doing that again. Even the Doctor didn't take it seriously, scoffing, "In your dreams, mate. A single Dalek can be sinister enough, of course, or original." What was the whole point of her calling a Dalek mate? Ridiculous. Again, it's Chibnall's idea of rooting everything in reality, and it just doesn't work. But where's the creatures Rose Tyler, Oswald Oswald, or Matt Smith encountered were insane or dying, or super Daleks? The recon Dalek here just wasn't special, agreed. Its voice, for a start, was like the Transformers-style creatures in Chibnall's very first episode, beyond cliched, like a 6-year-old's idea of what scary sounded like, completely lacking imagination or sophistication. He's talking not about the voice when the thing actually becomes a Dalek, but before. I agree, the voice wasn't great. Now, if you remember the Dalek episode in the Christopher Eccleston season, when the Dalek was actually out the shell, it didn't sound exactly how it does in the tin, but it still sounded mighty scary and pretty fantastic. The Dalek's dialogue too was woefully limited. Yeah, you are my prisoner, you are my puppet, nothing shall halt my mission. As for the horrendous rock music that accompanied the exciting car chase, it was a blatant copy of the Jack Shoulder film. Wouldn't know, never seen it. The hidden and so bereft of any subtlety, it was an insult to the Doctor Who series of the past. Yep. Reconnaissance scouts have capabilities beyond the normal Dalek soldiers, revealed the Doctor, which seemed a surprise given none of the previous Time Lords had mentioned it, and unlikely on the evidence of this one, which was never impressive. On the contrary, typically feeble, or the most part, it resembled a ragged, rusty tin can. The casing, the squid, consistent of the Recon Dalek, had cobbled together using bits of metal and spare parts of a farmer's tractor. It turns out the Daleks are masters at metalwork. Yeah, I never got that. It was ridiculous. I mean, it is a Dalek that isn't. The Dalek isn't made of metal anyway, so that metal wouldn't have had the same effect. It wouldn't have been strong enough. A Dalek is made of titanium, right? Am I right? Or Dalekanium, right? Or whatever. But even when the recon was complete, the Chibnall-Whittaker Axis still managed to suck the danger out of the Daleks, as they had been with the various other monsters and creatures throughout the entire series. So if it was there, and we assume is now roaming around here, should we be worried? Asked Bradley Walsh. Probably, the Doctor replied, although probably not was more a better answer given the way the series had been. Despite the squid wrapping itself around a female archaeologist, becoming her pilot and using her as its mode of transport, Lynn managed to escape its clutches eventually, although how wasn't very clear. She just shook it off, apparently. Now, I did joke, and many of us did joke about a female Dalek, and we pretty much got one. Then, when the recon knocked up its casing, the Dalek's famous lethal plunger again proved feeble and misfired. Although the reconnaissance Daleks weren't especially advanced from the basic Daleks, according to the Doctor, this one still will let the Time Lord somehow talk to Lynn, independently from her pilot, and distract the Dalek enough to reboot the TARDIS systems. It didn't detect that. The Doctor wasn't human. Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? The first part of the Doctor's plan to defeat it was embarrassingly simple, like something from a Rent-A-Ghost. Rent-A-Ghost was a children's TV show back in my day. Hilarious. Simply running behind the Dalek, dodging its blast and pulling it about like a wheelie bin, then sticking a bomb on it. In the end, the Doctor easily destroyed it by pulling a level to a trapdoor that sucked the Dalek out in the lethal heat of a sun-going supernova. But if the Dalek was feeble, the Doctor proved to be too. How did it go? How did you get rid of it, Ryan asked, when the Doctor returned from the showdown with the Dalek. Not quite. Not at all. Slightly rolled it and let it get away. And that is trying to summon the fleet. The Time Lord was too busy congratulating itself on my best skid ever to realise the Dalek had escaped, being obliterated by the Doctor's makeshift bomb and taken over the body of Ryan's dad. Now, that was a neat little twist with Ryan's dad, and that was the only thing that kind of impressed me from the whole episode, and I mentioned that on my review. Nice work, Doc. In contrast to Peter Capaldi, David Tennant, and even the cherubic Matt Smith, one of the problems with Jodie Whittaker is she's about as authoritative as a netball teacher. Yeah, look, she has no authority in her performances as the Doctor. And this guy, as cruel as he puts it, is absolutely spot on. This tends to make her threats to all the aliens monsters the Doctor is up against, especially Daleks, rather hollow. I want you to see just how serious my face is right now, she told it. Not very. When she declared, "Get off this planet, this is now my final warning, because I'm nice," she summed it up. The reason why her incarnation as a Doctor in this series doesn't work, yeah. From episode 1, she was far too nice. And again, this is Chibnall. This is a woman. We mustn't offend anyone. So, pretty pathetic, right? And that, my friends, is the article. Well, I agree with most of it. He got some facts wrong. The Daily Mail is a bit of a Tory paper. I don't really like reading articles from it. I don't care about the PC crap, but the point is this. The points he makes are brilliant. She is a feeble Doctor. She's not intimidating to look. The thing just doesn't work, does it? You know it, and I know it. A ratings update for you, just over 5 million for last night's episode. It was a bit of a low turnout all round for the BBC last night, actually. Luther didn't do much better. So I'm assuming everyone was watching ITV, which when people talk about the ratings, don't mention that, by the way, because they wouldn't want to mention that something else on another channel did really well. So basically, it's very interesting. Everybody is talking about what a mess Doctor Who is in right now. And it's really, the ball is really in the BBC's court. They have commissioned season 12. It will start production and shooting very soon. But they can put the brakes on it now. They don't have to go through with this car crash. We have to wait over a year. You know, this can be canned right now. And they can take a 2-year break, as far as I'm concerned, to get this show right. And to bring the people on board to give us our Doctor Who back.